mentally. I finesse it just so gently. Gotta keep up with me mentally.
So I feel like whenever I'm in this room, you guys kind of already know the tone of the video. We get a little vulnerable, we get a little real, you know, for a second. But I kind of do like the fact that this year I have done 1 or 2 videos just like this, where I've kind of been a little bit more transparent. And the response that some of you had to those videos, you guys really appreciated how vulnerable I was. So I kind of almost I kind of want to make it a habit of kind of doing a video like this every once in a while, so we can kind of just sit down and talk about some things. And also, I apologize if the lighting's a little weird. I don't really know what's going on with that, but yeah, I wanted to talk about something that I, like I'm sure many other young black kids deal with, self-hate. And in order for me not to sound like I'm going all over the place, I kind of do have some main points I'm going to talk about. So pretty much, when does self-hate start, or when do you feel like it starts developing? And I feel like for me personally, just like for all these things I'm going to talk about, all this comes from personal experience. And even when I say the word hate, I know that's like a very strong word, but even so, there are things that even that you just don't like, or you have always never been fond of. I feel like those things still go in the same category, but just to put it in a broader term, as harsh as it is, just self-hate. Personally, I feel like self-hate as a young black girl started when I was very young. And the thing about it, I don't think you realize when you start developing self-hate for either your features or how you look or your skin or your hair, until you actually get older and maybe you start embracing some of those things more. Like when I look back at some of the things that I tried to do, or when I look back at some of the things that I used to hate or I wasn't proud of, it all went back to the fact of, hey, those are natural black features that I have, so why do I have such a hatred for them, or why do I dislike them so much? And I feel like for me, I didn't even realize that I maybe had developed that little bit of self-hate until I really got in my 20s, to be honest, like when I was finally out of school and in different environments. I feel like self-hate can start developing when you're very young and you don't even realize it. It can start really at any given moment. I don't think there's a time period. I don't think there's a certain age or whatever, but I really feel like when I was very young, and then especially going up and going through puberty and high school, middle school, it was difficult. Some reasons why I think that self-hate may start to develop or it may happen is because if you're like me and you grew up in environments where there were a lot of predominantly white people, like for example, I went to schools where the majority for the most part was predominantly white. I played basketball at an organization where I was the only black girl for a number of years. And then after a while, somebody that was mixed came along, and then somebody that was Mexican. But for a long time, on like the team that I was put in, the little basketball team, the cheerleading team, I was the only black girl. My mom was the only black female coach. So if you are a young black kid and you grew up in environments where you didn't really see a lot of people that look like you, you're starting to think like, maybe something's different about me. Or maybe you grew up with a lot of white friends, right? And obviously they don't have black features. Maybe they don't have the nose, they don't have the lips, they don't have the ears, whatever. There are certain features that we have as black people that are gorgeous, by the way, but if we grow up in places or in environments where we don't see it a lot, we may start to think the way I look is not how they look, and maybe the way I look is not good enough, or maybe the way that I look is not pretty enough. And I feel like it was definitely that way for me. Growing up in school, I didn't have a lot of black girls around me that had their natural hair. I think I maybe went to school with one girl that actually wore her natural hair. Like you guys see, like I'm wearing my natural hair today. And I feel like the dislike, well honestly, a hatred for my natural hair started at a very young age. I had a lot of, my best friend growing up was a white girl, and she was great. She was amazing. But I was surrounded by a lot of kids that just didn't look like me. My mom's hair was relaxed for a number of years. It wasn't until actually I was almost either like maybe a sophomore or junior in high school maybe that my mom finally went natural, and then I finally had a black woman that had natural hair in my life, and my mom big chopped, and I was like, whoa. And I remember after my mom big chopped, I did start to consider going natural. My hair was still relaxed. And I feel like I was always, like, from a young age, I always wanted my hair straight. I wanted my hair pinned straight. I wanted my hair to look like my friends' hair. My white friends. They had straight blonde hair. The girls that I played basketball with, they had sleek ponytails, and it was long. So I think that obsession for just wanting to not have my kinky natural curls and pretty much growing up to dislike them started with the fact that I just did not see a lot of women that had natural hair. Personally, for me, one of the first ways that I started to embrace being a black woman and loving the features that I have was with my hair. My hair was honestly the first step. And there are still days where I'm like, I really do not want to deal with my natural hair. Like, wash day comes and I'm like, Lord, give me the strength. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like we all have those days where you almost kind of revert back to those same negative headspaces or negative thoughts about yourself and your appearance. But another reason why I think self-hate may start to happen is because of maybe the jokes you hear, the shows you watch, or maybe you were a young black kid and the things you were interested in, you didn't see a lot of people that looked like you. Maybe you didn't feel very seen in whatever creative space that you saw, whether it be in music, whether it be in art, whether it be in acting, whether so many things. Maybe you just didn't feel seen enough. You didn't see somebody with your skin tone, somebody with your hair. So in other words, just to put it to you simply, being the only black kid in the room or the only black girl is not a foreign feeling to me. I feel like it's a gift and a curse. If I'm surrounded in a room full of people that do not look like me or anything like that, I'm not intimidated, I'm not scared. I'm still gonna do what I need to do and say what I want to say for the most part. But for people that didn't have that, when you do get in a room with people that don't look like you, it can be very intimidating. You know what I mean? So it can go both ways. So what does self-hate sound or look like? Self-hate can sound like, oh my goodness, I hate how nappy my hair looks. I hate how dark I look in this picture. I hate how big my lips are, or I don't like how big my lips are. I don't like how big my nose is. Those are some phrases that I feel like that is what self-hate may sound, or even, look like, what it may come in the form of. And the thing about it, it's like, most of the time with self-hate, it mostly comes from like just within here, and you're telling these things to yourself. Most of the time with the things we dislike, we don't necessarily broadcast into the world. We don't broadcast our insecurities, obviously. So a lot of things with self-hate, it's internalized. And I think that because self-hate is internalized, when you actually start to realize that you actively do it or you did it, you're like, whoa, I said some really harmful things to myself. These are features on my body, on my face, that I cannot change. They're natural and they're given to me. And at the end of the day, they're beautiful. And that's much easier said than done. I feel like it took me years to get to this point. If you would have told me like 8 years ago that I would be natural and wearing my curly hair in the video,
I would have told you that you are crazy, bro. Get me a relaxer. Get me the creamy crack right now, dog.
And I have talked about this before in previous videos. I transitioned for about 2.5 years, sort of. And then finally, one day around Thanksgiving time, I was like, I want to cut it off. And that's what it was. And I think my hair and embracing it and still learning to embrace it has helped me a lot. And learning to embrace a lot of the features on my face and just things about my black culture in general, and to not be ashamed of those things. So basically, in the end, what I'm trying to say is that self-hate can start for various reasons, because of how you grew up, people you surround yourself with, or maybe because you just didn't feel seen in whatever hobby or area or creative space that you enjoyed. It can start at any age, doesn't matter. And also it may take you a while to realize that you actually did do it. And as for ways to embrace it, start with your hair, start with loving your skin, start with looking in the mirror and being like, I love my skin. Start, loving your lips, loving your nose, take time to really admire the features and learn to love the ones that you've been given. And it's step by step. I don't think there's really a set guide or like some instruction manual that tells a young black kid that had to be the butt of jokes or be stereotyped. There's no way to tell us exactly how to, right then and there, to start embracing all these black features that maybe we had been, ridiculed for growing up, or that we may have seen other black kids get teased for because maybe they were darker than us, And there's no really set way to do it. I feel like you kind of just do it on your own time. I think eventually I can tell you personally that I've learned to embrace a lot of things about myself. I kind of almost have to remind myself every single day. I know every single wash day I gotta pretty much be like, hey look, this is my hair and this is what we gotta deal with, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's it for this video. I really hope you watch this and you feel seen and you know, hey, I'm not the only young black kid that dealt with this or deals with this. And hopefully you start taking the steps to start embracing the beautiful black features that we've all been given. And you'll be even more cautious of the things you say to another young black kid. Be careful what you say, because you never know how that can affect a young black kid's, you know, psyche and how they even view themselves. And if you are in creative spaces where maybe you are the only black person in the room, continue to create, continue to push forward and open up the door so more of us can be seen in whatever area it is. So yeah, man, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please be sure to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe, and whatever you do, not forget to click that bell so that you get notified every single time that I post. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time with another video.